In the world of the television show Euphoria, a world defined by flashing lights, curated social media feeds, and the desperate performance of identity, one of the quietest characters holds the loudest secret. Cal Jacobs, on the surface, is a portrait of suburban success, a father, a husband, a businessman with a seemingly perfect life. But in his basement, locked away, are a series of videotapes. These are not home movies of birthday parties or holidays. They are recordings of his clandestine sexual encounters, each one labeled with a name and a date. To dismiss these tapes as simply evidence of infidelity or perversion is to miss their deeper, sadder meaning. Cal's tapes represent something more profound in our modern age, the fetishization of memory and the tragic, desperate pursuit of authenticity. To understand the tapes, we must first understand the idea of a fetish. In everyday terms, a fetish is an object that is worshipped or given excessive, irrational devotion. Cal does not just record his encounters. He archives them, he carefully labels them, stores them in order, and returns to them. The tapes themselves become more important than the experiences they capture. They become objects of power, control, and ritual. For Cal, living a life that is a complete lie, a closeted man performing rigid masculinity for his family and community, the tapes are his only truth. They are tangible proof that the real him, the one he hides, actually existed in moments of time. The act of recording is an attempt to seize a genuine feeling, a moment of real desire, and hold it prisoner inside a plastic cassette. He fetishizes these recorded memories because his everyday life offers him no real memories he wants to keep. This connects directly to the concept of authenticity. In a world like Euphoria, where characters like Kat build entire identities through online personas and Jules edits her life into a beautiful, filtered story, authenticity is the rarest currency. Everyone is performing. Cal's performance is just older and more worn out. His is the performance of the straight, conservative patriarch. He has played this role for so long that he no longer knows where the character ends and he begins. The tapes, therefore, are his attempt to touch something authentic. In those secret encounters, he is not the father or the husband. He is simply Cal, acting on his true desires. The camera is his witness. It proves it was real. By watching the tapes, he is not just reliving a sexual experience, he is reconfirming his own existence to himself. He is saying, "See, that is me. That is the real person, trapped inside this performance." But here is the great tragedy of Cal's project: the very act of recording destroys the authenticity he seeks. Think about it. When you point a camera at something, you change it. The moment becomes a performance for the lens. The people on Cal's tapes, often vulnerable and intoxicated, are unknowing actors in his private documentary of realness. He is not present in the experience itself, he is already thinking about preserving it, cataloging it, adding it to his collection. The authentic feeling he chases slips through his fingers at the very second he tries to capture it. The memory becomes not a feeling in his mind, but a digital file on a tape. He replaces lived experience with a recording of it. The tape becomes the authentic thing, while the actual moment loses its meaning. This is the fetishization cycle. The real is gone, only the object that symbolizes it remains, and that object is then worshipped. We can see this in our own world, magnified by technology. Social media is the most obvious example. People experience a beautiful sunset, a fun party, a happy meal, and their first instinct is not to absorb it but to photograph it, filter it, and post it. The memory is no longer the warmth of the sun or the taste of the food, the memory becomes the likes and comments the post receives. The authentic experience is fetishized into a digital metric. We archive our lives on Instagram and TikTok, creating perfect, curated tapes of our own, hoping to prove we lived a happy, authentic life. But like Cal, we risk watching life through a lens instead of living it. Our tapes become the proof of a life we might not have fully felt. For Cal, the tapes also represent control. His life is spiraling, his relationship with his sons is broken, his marriage is a cold contract, his business is a facade. Everything is chaos, but in the basement, the tapes are in perfect order. He controls the narrative there. He can play, rewind, and pause the only parts of his life where he felt free. This is another layer of the fetish. The tapes give him the illusion of control over his own identity, his memories, and his desires. In reality, they control him. They are a prison of his own making. He is addicted to the ghost of authenticity they hold, forcing him to seek out more encounters to record, to add to the collection, to feel real again, in a cycle that never satisfies. The explosive moment when his son Nate discovers the tapes is the shattering of this fragile system. The tapes were private, a secret shrine. When exposed, they cease to be his sacred objects and become weapons. The authenticity he saw in them is now viewed by his family as pure perversion and betrayal. The tragedy is that Nate, in his own twisted way, is also obsessed with performance and control, mirroring his father. He uses the tapes to gain power, not understanding that he and his father are both trapped in the same prison, the desperate need to control how they are seen, to manage the narrative of their lives, to find something real in a world of lies. The tapes, meant to be proof of Cal's real self, become the ultimate evidence of his falseness to everyone else. In the end, Cal's story with the tapes is a devastating cautionary tale. It shows us what happens when we confuse the recording of a thing with the thing itself. It warns us about the danger of fetishizing memories, of turning them into collectible items we store away, rather than feelings we carry within us. Authenticity cannot be captured on tape. It cannot be archived, labeled, and locked in a basement. It is found in being present, in being honest, in connecting with others without a lens between you. Cal Jacobs spent his life building a library of realness, only to find the shelves were empty. The tapes were just hollow boxes filled with magnetic tape, documenting a man who was never really there, chasing a feeling he could never keep. His legacy teaches us that a life spent documenting authenticity is a life spent missing the point entirely. The real memory is in the living, not in the recording.